Good morning, lovely people. Today we will be reviewing the DJI Osmo Action 6 that I'm recording on right now. Now, this video is not sponsored by DJI. I bought this camera with my own money and I had it for around a week. I was able to test it and I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts on this camera, what I like, what I don't like about it, and bring you guys along this journey. I'm filming this entire video on the Osmo Action 6, so this way you can see how well it performs. Now be sure to also stick till the end as I'll be sharing with you my simple camera settings for vlogging with this camera. So right now I'm driving to the car wash because this car needs cleaning. So I just got myself some snacks. So let's now head to the lake. I want to quickly talk about why I prefer the Action camera over the iPhone for vlogging. First of all is the ease of use. I can simply press the button on top and it will turn on and start recording. With an iPhone, I first have to unlock it, open up the default camera app, and can then start recording. Number two is how lightweight, durable, and compact the Action camera is. While the iPhone is pocket friendly, it's way easier to mount the Action camera with their included accessories. The Action camera is also more durable, so if it falls, it doesn't break immediately. And number three, the Osmo Action cameras actually come with a front screen, which makes it super convenient to monitor and see what I'm actually shooting. Whereas with my iPhone, I would need to attach an external monitor or use the selfie camera, which usually doesn't provide the highest quality. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is motion blur. Do you really need it for vlogging? Now, I personally don't use ND filters when vlogging. I think it's too much of a hassle. First of all, if you do want to follow the 180-degree shutter rule where you record your videos in 25 frames per second and you have your shutter speed at 1/50, the stabilization won't work as well on the Action camera and you will get a lot of jitter, so you will need to use some kind of stabilizer. Secondly, most people don't really care about motion blur. What they do care is the story you're telling in your vlog. So now I have the ND16 mounted on the Osmo Action 6 and I have set the shutter speed to 1/100. So you should be able to see motion blur in the background. Now, the reason why I've set it to 1/100 instead of 1/50 when recording in 25 frames per second, this way the stabilization will work better and you'll get much less jitter. Now, if we remove the ND filter and set the exposure to auto, you should see less motion blur as I move the camera. And just to show you how well the footage stabilizes, right now I don't have the ND filter applied and I've set the exposure to auto and I'm using horizon balancing. And I'm just gonna walk so that you can see the difference. And now I have the ND filter applied with the shutter speed set to 1/100 and the stabilization to horizon balancing, and this is how it looks like. What DJI did really well is that I can simply press this button up here to start and stop recording without needing to press the button on the Action camera itself. Now, an even cooler feature, which I wished DJI would include, would be to start recording even if the camera is turned off. So if I could just press this button and the camera would turn on and start recording, that would save battery life and make it even more convenient. Now with the DJI Mic Mini, it's as simple as plug and play. Once connected, I can start recording audio and I also can see the audio meter on the front screen. So this way I know the audio is recording. Now, what if I forgot my wireless mic at home, or maybe the transmitter runs out of battery? Well, you can still use the internal mic on the Action 6. So this is how it sounds like using the internal mic on the Action 6. I'm about an arm length away and it should sound pretty good. You can definitely use it if you don't have a wireless mic, as long as you're fairly close to the camera. Let's now switch over to the DJI Mic Mini. And this is how it sounds like using the DJI Mic Mini. You should hear a noticeable difference. If you want the best quality possible, it's best to use DJI's wireless mic. But if you don't own one and want to keep it very simple, the internal mic is totally usable. Just be sure to be fairly close to the camera when talking. Now, something I find really useful on the Osmo Action 6 is that you can zoom in 2 times without quality loss, whereas on the Action 5 Pro, you could also zoom in twice, but digitally, which basically crops into the image, which does affect the quality. So being able to zoom in without quality loss allows me to use this feature to capture more diverse B-roll. Now, what got me excited are the film tones. I think for those who want to speed up the color grading process, you can apply a look directly to your recorded video. So it will bake it in. And what's also cool is that you can adjust the intensity of the look. Now, right now I'm using the normal color profile. So right now you're looking at the CC film tone. Now you're looking at the TR film tone, which looks nice too. And this is the WT film tone. And then we got the FE. And finally, we have the NV look, which looks really great. And you can really use those film tone to create your own distinctive style and skip the color grading process. Now, I still prefer to apply my look in the edit, but for those who want to skip that process, this is a really great feature that really adds a lot of convenience. Now, what's really cool about the Osmo Action 6 and also the other action cameras from DJI is that I can pair it with my iPhone using the DJI Mimo app. And this allows me to film myself from a distance, like right now, because I can't really see what's on the tiny screen. So by having a real-time preview, it makes it easier to frame myself and get a nicer composition. Now, what's new on the Action 6 is that you can attach their macro lens. Now, I didn't get my hands on it. I'm using the standard lens, and I also don't think from the reviews that I've seen that I'll be using it. I think if you like having that shallow depth of field and needing to get closer shots, then yes, but because it's a lens that you need to manually focus, it just adds another step. And it's also not easy to set focus with it. You might need to use the DJI Mimo app where you can enable focus peaking. So I'll probably just gonna stick with the standard lens, which I think is good enough. Now, if you're wondering if there's a difference in background blur when switching between a fixed 2.8 and a fixed f4, let's test it out. So right now I have it at f2.8 and now I switched over to f4. You probably won't see much of a difference. So now I have the camera closer, we're at f2.8 and now I switched over to f4 and this is how it looks like. Now, something else to mention also, when you use f4 and film towards the sun, you get that 6-point star burst effect, which can look pretty awesome than when using f2.8. Now, the Action 6 is definitely not perfect, and there are a few things I wish DJI would add to it. First would be lock white balance on recording. Second would be to include a lens cap when purchasing the Osmo Action 6, and also missing record canceling feature, just like on the DJI Osmo Pocket, where I can just press and hold the record button to cancel the recording. What else did I write down? Also, the Osmo Action 6 doesn't come with a dedicated cage like on the 5 Pro and the Action 4. And I do like my action camera protected, so I did order a cage from SmallRig. Future Bennett here. I already got my cage and mounted it on the Action 6. And just to show you how it looks like, you can see that we have also 1/4 screw hole and a cold shoe mount. It's still pretty lightweight to vlog with it, and you still have access to all the buttons and ports, and I can also remove it pretty easily. Overall, I'm quite happy with the cage. Now, the Osmo Action 6 uses a 1/1.1 inch square sensor. This means you can record in a 4:3 format like I'm doing right now and repurpose your content for horizontal or vertical video. And this could be a game changer for those who use different platforms, as you don't have to film twice. So if you do content for multiple platforms, this might be a feature you want and could be worth upgrading from the Action 5 5 Pro. So the next thing I want to talk about are accessories. And accessories allow you to capture your shots more creatively and makes the filmmaking experience more enjoyable. Now, the different shots you've seen from the car wash were taken using different accessories. I'll also be sure to link all products in the video description below. The first one is this clamp from Ulanzi, and this allows me to clamp it on any object to sort of create a POV perspective. Next up is the magnetic chest mount from Telsin, which I can attach magnetically to this neck strap. And this works great for creating first-person view shot. You can see that I have the magnetic action mount attached, and I recommend attaching them to all of your accessories so this way you can switch between them seamlessly. Next up is the multifunctional handle, which I've mentioned in some of my other videos, and I really like it because it's not only a handle, but it also has a built-in power bank, which allows me to charge the Osmo Action and also extends the shooting time. Now, the Osmo Action 6 lasts around 2 hours, but if I use the multifunctional handle, I can extend it another 2 hours, giving me a total of 4 hours, which is awesome. I can also start and stop recording using the buttons, and it's just way more convenient to hold and vlog with it. And it also has built-in tripod legs. This way I can place it on a flat surface like right now and record hands-free, but also B-rolls of myself. And last but not least is the suction mount from SmallRig, which I've used at the beginning of this video, especially for car scenes. I can set it up indoors or outdoors, and it holds pretty well. I can get pretty creative with the angles, and it's also easy to bring along as it doesn't use up much space. So let me walk you through the camera settings that I've used throughout this video. I've set it to Pro, and in terms of exposure, I've set it to auto, going from 100 to 256,000. And the exposure value is set to -0.3. If it's really sunny outside, I set it to -0.7. In terms of white balance, I've set it to auto. At the front, you have a white balance sensor, which does a fairly good job at detecting the white balance. But if you want the best results, you could first set it to auto white balance, and before you start recording, switch to manual so it locks the white balance throughout the recording. Next up, the color mode I've set to normal 10-bit. Now, if you do want more flexibility, then I recommend setting it to D-Log M 10-bit. But because I want to keep my vlogs simple and don't want to do much color grading, I've set it to normal. Now, quality priority, you can turn it on if you want. Just keep in mind that it will use more battery, and what this does is it improves the visual experience. Then over here you have your film tones, which we discussed, and you can see when I select one, I can adjust the intensity over here. Now, in terms of variable aperture, I've set it to auto, going from f2 to f4. Now, if you're not using the macro lens, it will go from 2.8 to f4. If I film in a low light environment, it will lower the f-stop to f2, which will improve the low light performance. In terms of stabilization, I've set it to daily. And for the image adjustment, I've set the texture to -2 and noise reduction to -1. Now, for the mic, the transmitter gain, I recommend pushing it all the way down to -12. This way your audio won't distort. Now, in the settings, I also recommend setting the bitrate to high. This way you get the best quality out of your videos. I also enable grid so that I can frame my shots better. And over here in the wireless mic section, I also enable the clipping control, LED, auto power off. And also what I like to do is having the built-in mic audio backup set to video audio track. This way it will save an extra audio track in the video file. What I forgot to mention is the resolution I'm shooting in. So I'm shooting in 4K, 25 frames per second for normal speed, and for slow motion I can switch to 50. You can also shoot 8K on the Action 6, which is new, but since it produces larger file size, I think it's overkill for vlogging. As for the stabilization, I leave it at horizon balancing, which does a horizontal adjustment of ±45
degree, which gives you around a 15mm focal length. So the only option you can choose here is standard D-warp. Now you can also choose horizon steady, and you'll notice that it crops in more. This gives me an equivalent of 17mm.
So just to show you the difference between horizon balancing and horizon steady, this is how it looks like vlogging in horizon balancing, having the camera an arm length away. And now you're looking at horizon steady, and yeah, that's the difference. Now what horizon steady does is no matter how you hold the camera, it will always be leveled, which is crazy. Whereas with horizon balancing, you get negative plus 45-degree correction, as you can see.
What I forgot to mention is that the Action 6 has 50GB of internal storage, whereas the Action 5 Pro has 47, so just 3GB more, but still it's great to have internal storage in case you forget your SD card.
So one is shot on the Action 6 and the other is shot on the Action 5 Pro. Do you know which is which? So over here we have the Action 5 Pro, and up here we have the Action 6. Now they're set to the default settings. It's gonna walk around so that you can see how each camera performs. Now you won't notice much of a difference. The image quality is basically the same on both. So there are no really major improvements here. But yeah, you be the judge of it. And now we're gonna do the same with the Action 4. Can you tell which is which? So let me know if you can see any difference in image quality between the Action 4 and the Action 5. So the camera to the left is the Action 6 and the camera to the right is the Action 5 Pro. And I can clearly see from the screen that the Action 6 is doing better at low light, but it might have more noise. Now I'm using the same vlog settings. Now what's great is that when filming in low light, the aperture on the Action 6 will go down to f2. Otherwise, during the day, it will go as low as 2.8. So it's good to leave it in auto. This way it will detect low light and will switch to the lowest aperture. So I'm just gonna walk around so that you guys can see. So we're now using Super Night mode, recording in 4K 25, rock steady stabilization, and neutral wide. And this is how it looks like. ISO is set to auto as well as white balance. Now, from what I see, I can't see any difference, but let me know which one you think is better. If you're wondering whether it's worth upgrading from the Action 5 Pro to the Action 6, the Action 5 Pro shares a lot of similar features and there's no major improvement in terms of image quality. If open gate recording is important to you and using their macro lens, then upgrading to the Action 6 might be worth it. But otherwise, I would keep the Action 5 Pro. And if you don't own any action camera yet, then the Action 6 is a great option. But if you're on a budget, then the Action 5 Pro will still do a great job. And I'm actually traveling to the Philippines next week, and I'm gonna bring the Action 6 with me to record some travel content. And I'm gonna bring you guys along and also share with you some of the tips on how to capture engaging and cinematic footage with this camera while keeping things simple. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.